Hey, this is Dr. Ryan with the Chiropractic Spa. I'm coming to you to tell you the benefits of chiropractic care for powerlifting. I got my friend Fred up here to help us demonstrate a little bit. So, what Fred demonstrates to us is how the spine is aligned. His is not aligned very well because he needs a chiropractor. But what I do love is that this demonstrates and shows that the spine actually moves as a unit. And what we want to do is promote uniform movement within the spine. So each level of the spine, it has a root that exits, and that's a nerve root that exits and controls different functions. It controls every bodily function that we have, but it also controls motor function of your muscles. And so if we have reduced function within any segments of the spine, you can actually reduce performance of the muscles that are correlated with those nerves. And so this is important because we obviously are recruiting maximal muscle firing whenever we're doing maximal effort work. So we want to make sure and ensure that our spine is moving completely and cohesively as a functional unit. One of the biggest problems that we have is leg length discrepancy, meaning one leg is shorter than the other. A lot of that comes from the pelvis and pelvic instability and pelvic imbalances that come from motor deficiencies from the spine. So what we do in chiropractic care, we ensure that the pelvis is aligned properly so that the legs will be the same length. Because if you have one leg that tends to go shorter than the other leg, you're not going to have the same motor performance and function as the other leg. Then you're going to have instability when you perform your lift. I'm sure many of you have seen it when you see somebody squat and their hip shoots to one side really quickly and then they kind of shift back and forth on the way up. It's because one leg is firing while the other is relaxed, and they switch back and forth until we produce a movement. The other thing I want to talk about is that the spine needs to function as a unit completely and whole, because that's where the power and strength comes from. It's designed very well to hold and withstand immense pressures. That's why people can squat 1,000 pounds and not explode. It's because this is built very, very well. And so we want to ensure that we maintain that integrity through the lifetime of your lifting career. And so the way we do that is we do a general assessment, and we like to use a technique called motion palpation. Motion palpation ensures that the spine is moving at each segment as it should and performs at each segment as it should. And if we find segments that don't move and don't function properly, we institute motion through those segments using the adjustment. And that's how chiropractic is incredibly important in the myriad and in the world of powerlifting, because we ensure that the spine can maintain its integrity and function and perform properly. Because unlike we used to believe, where functional spine was very rigid and in a specific spot, we've actually found through a lot of research that there is actually some flow and variance to neutral spine. And so we want to maintain that integrity through the entire myriad of a neutral spine. And so what we'll do is we go through, because there is actually, when a single segment becomes inhibited or doesn't move like it should, the segments above and below have to work harder to maintain the motion that was there before. And that compromises most of the spine. And it's hard to move one segment without other segments moving as well, or to reduce function in one segment without everything else going to hypermobile. That's one of the issues with arthritis that we see, is one segment becomes immobile, so everything else becomes hypermobile. And that becomes very, very problematic in performing a max deadlift or a max squat, because then you're compromised, which then tends to lead to worse injuries. On the lower end, muscle strain, muscle sprain, which is what we would prefer, just having that. The worst end are disc herniations, disc bulges, things like that, of that nature, which really can put us on the back burner for a while. So come in, keep performing at your highest level, keep lifting heavy, and we'll ensure that your spine is prepared to maintain those loads and to carry heavy weight.